So that's all for the summary of the day of 539 for the 16th of August. So let's do some conclusion or some or note, DPA note about the situation now. The Ukrainians are continuing their useless or waste of time attempt along the river at the Dnipro River. I cannot see this becoming any form of useful or meaningful unless you have massive fleet of landing craft that allows you to do one massive offensive into Kherson, which is they can't. They don't have it. And the situation over at the Orikhiv sector at ROBOTYNE is looking quite bad for the Russians. The Ukrainians are continuing their attack into ROBOTYNE, and with this information talking about near Verbove, the Russian Defense Ministry has almost never talked about Verbove. So now that Verbove has come into their literature, so it looks like the Ukrainians are definitely, you know, putting pressure. May use another color. Putting pressure on Verbove, and this is looking yeah, not very good. But there is a good reason for this. Multiple pro-Russian sources mentioned that the Ukrainians have mobilized their reserve forces. So with the Ukrainians mobilize their reserve force, and reportedly this force is actually very huge. They have the striker vehicle. There's another vehicle I forgot, and allegedly the tanks that they're using are the Challenger tanks. So the pro-Russian sources or channels are really excited because they are looking forward to seeing a destroyed or captured Challenger. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure why they are so optimistic. Maybe the Challengers will just be used in the long distance fire support role, which makes it really hard to destroy. Who knows? And so if they don't run over mines, I think it's quite hard to take out a Western tank nowadays. And but this also put into question, if the Ukrainians are making good progress because they are using the reserves, then what happened if this reserve force got exhausted or spent? Is there more forces to come behind it? We are not sure. The situation is that if you zoom out, we are still looking at massive amount of defense lines around this area here. And even if they manage to capture Verbove, they manage to break through and capture Verbove, they capture ROBOTYNE, maybe they go down, capture Novopropkovivka, that is still nowhere close to their actual objective of Tokmak. So this is looking quite bad, because if your biggest force of reserve is now used on the first line of defense, I'm not aware of the Ukrainians have any other force that can be deployed, because the Leopard 1s are not here yet, the Abrams tanks are not here yet. So I'm not, definitely there are still these brigades. So you have to be aware the Ukrainians still have reserve forces, but are they in the front line? Maybe they are not. And because they're still waiting for the equipment to come. The Leopard 1s are not here yet. Abrams tanks are not here yet. Then I think there's still a lot of Bradleys that we haven't seen, I think. So the Ukrainians still have the fighting capability, but no, there is still a lot more to grind. I think the pro-Russians are a bit too, pessimistic about the Ukrainian chances. They say that after this reserve force they will have to negotiate. I do not think that's the case. I don't think that will be the case. As I mentioned, the Ukrainians still have quite a number of reserve offensive brigades that still can be used and utilized. So we shall continue to see how this goes. Ukraine definitely still have a certain level of confidence that they can achieve something. Over at the Velika Novosibirsk sector, we finally have this a confirmation of the capture of Urozhaine. As I mentioned earlier, before this, there is no real capture just yet. They are still fighting to secure it despite the Russians have retreated. And now that the fighting has been pushed all the way to Zavitny, Bazania, so which means that the front line have actually moved all the way here. This is the front line now, and this is probably the reason why they can conclude that the Ukrainians have fully conquered Urozhaine, and they can now go and eat lasagna over at Zavitny. So the not sure if the lasagna is going to be tasty or it's going to be very explosive. You know, they put a lot of chili, and if it's too spicy, then yeah, it definitely there's a river crossing over here, so this is going to make it very spicy. The best bet for the Ukrainians at this moment is probably to attack from Staromayorsky. But as I mentioned before, the Ukrainian forces still have not captured the western part of Staromayorsky, and this makes it really impossible for the Ukrainian forces to just go on for Zapyne Bazyania. So I think the next move for the Ukrainians is likely to be a major offensive towards the west of Staromayorsky, and I think this will allow the Ukrainians to establish a stronghold around here and allow them to push for Zapyne Bazyania. And take it in a pincer, I think the Russians will have no choice but to withdraw further down to Starolinivka. But this is just my speculation. Otherwise, there's nothing much really happening over at the Bakhmut front. Basically, they are all exhausted and bored about fighting over there. And I think everywhere else is the same. This one was interesting. Karmazynivka, the Russian forces suddenly, you know, attacking in the area of Karmazynivka again. We shall continue to watch if this becomes a major offensive again in this area here. This is going to, you know, become a massive headache for the Ukrainians, because then after, you know, everything just died down now they have to go and reinforce again to hold back the Russians again. So this is not going to be very tasty for the Ukrainians. And over in the Kupiansk front, the Russian offensive continues. Over the Kupiansk offensive, they are continuing to push, and the Ukrainians are doing everything they can to counterattack and push back the Russians to prevent them from able to do this offensive. There's one problem with the information in this area, is that the Russians keep saying this place called the Utsi Forest. I cannot find this place, and I'm not sure where exactly this Utsi Forest is. There's speculation it might be this, but who knows, man. No, I even asked God GPT about it. Even God do not know. So God GPT also cannot answer where is Utsi. So nobody knows what's Utsi. So anyway, this is the that's all for the DPA note. I think, and also, you know, this cross-border stuff is not going to do much. Anyway, thank you for watching. That's all for the summary, and I'll see you. Do press the like button, subscribe, and do share this with your friends and family. You know, just spam it on your social media. Hopefully, maybe there will be people who are interested that might click and watch it, and that helps with the algorithm to push the DPA video to more people. Thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and see you in the next update.